Oh, okay. So our presentation is on pop culture and history, and you press it. We decided to focus on like the film aspect of it, and this is kind of like our thesis. Since the beginning of the modern U.S. pop culture has been evolving as time passes and the innovators of their industries make history. Film has been a powerful vehicle for change since its inception in the early 1900s, and many movies have reflected real world issues and situations. So we each took like our essay topic and like try to integrate them with the movies, like how like our topic has changed within the movies. So yeah.
So so film has been a large part of pop culture since the early 1900s when the industry kind of began as camera equipment started to come together and work as a creative medium. But it really started to become a part of history in like American history in that kind of way during World War II, when the U.S. and the other countries involved started to use propaganda films to talk to their people. So, for example, the U.S. would use it to convince people to join the military and fight for their country, and they would use like all these patriotic. They would use patriotism to try and get people to feel like they have to do it. They have to support their country, the greatest country in the world. And also during World War II, as people kind of realized the gravity of the situation and how bad it really was, people kind of wanted to get away and like ignore the situation. And a lot of people also thought that women couldn't handle it, which is just like kind of what they thought at the time. So they started to think, let's make more fantasy movies and quote unquote women's movies that were made for like family values, fantasy movies, just fantasies also. Um, World War II, at the end of World War II, they started to make more movies about soldiers returning home and the consequences of war once this like propaganda patriotism effect was kind of over. One example is The Best Years of Our Lives, uh, where they like PTSD is a huge issue today, but they were already kind of starting to talk about it in like the 50s, 40s. For example, this guy, he came back, lost both his arms in the movie, and the movie was already kind of confronting that issue. Now, in the present day, people continue to interpret history differently. A couple examples: Schindler's List, Steven Spielberg movie about a man who helped to protect people during the Holocaust, and that's the like smaller, like really trying to tell a story way to do it. Titanic is pretty much the polar opposite. It's like the absolute like blockbuster movie making billions of dollars. Love story, not really about what actually happened, but it's like it's just like kind of a different way to tell the story and tell like this historical event, the crash of the Titanic. Also in present day Hollywood, and it's kind of been a part of it all along. Crime is a huge issue. Money laundering, taking advantage of people. Finally, a couple of recent successes. The recent Best Picture Oscar winner Spotlight about the Catholic Church scandal a couple of years ago kind of affected history by convincing the church to rethink how they treat the clergy and their priests and how they make sure they're not taking advantage of their power. Another recent one, The Revenant, another Best Picture nomination. This guy Hugh Glass. Just his like trek across the country to get revenge. But most importantly, actual short documentary. This movie, A Girl in the River, about a girl who escaped an honor killing in Iran, convinced the president to, after seeing the movie, it convinced him to rethink the laws on honor killings to make Iran a little bit safer for everyone.
Alright, so if you bring it to robots, I don't know how many of you have seen this movie, I, Robot. Will Smith's in it. It's basically about this guy, he's a cop, and in this world there's a bunch of robots and they're all living together, and the robots eventually take over the world. And once you see this movie, you get some bad feelings about robots. You get scared, nervous, anxious. You start to lose trust in them because this is what you portray robots as. People think robots can take over the world, and I don't know. There's a surgical robot. It's called the Da Vinci surgical system, and so just trying to think about that. It basically you wouldn't trust that robot to do it once you've seen this movie, or you would lose feeling towards that robot. Alright, so those are the myths and facts. So the robots, these are the movies from, these are the robots from iRobot, and these robots have artificial intelligence, so they learn on their own. Obviously, we don't have robots that look or do anything like this today. They're years away, and people should really trust robots today because they can't do things like these robots. And so this is the Da Vinci surgical system, some facts about it. It's more accurate than humans, 1 to 2 centimeter incisions versus the longer incisions that are worse. More men choose to treat prostate cancer, and this is a picture of it. It doesn't look anything like the other robots do. And then 775,000 people worldwide use this robot.
Okay, so I did like my part on like cars and like movies about cars. So like the movie I decided to focus on was the movie Transformers, and like the futuristic thing about these cars, like there are weapons attached to them, and like cars turning into regular robots. Like as Pepe was saying, like people don't really start to trust robots, and self-operated vehicles, like these cars could drive on their own, and like these are just ideas that people like for a movie, but also it's things that people kind of would like wish to see because it was in a movie and because it's like a popular movie. So these are like ideas that people would like to see going forward. But like in reality today, like there are cars that are starting to be developed that are like self-operated, like the self-driving cars these days, and like I said some weapons, not as much, but not like I don't think as like working weapons, just like for show, like those classic cars that you see, like some people just attach things to it just for show. They're not like as advanced as these cars are. Like these cars have like a bunch of cannons and weapons attached to them, and like that's not what our world is today. And like these movies influence the way people like would like to see the world change and like what they kind of want to see, but it's not necessarily what like would actually happen. And yeah, that's it.